Welcome back to another episode of Whip Media TV. I'm your host, Whip Media Mickey, aka Mickey Made It. If you're new to the channel, you know what to do to the channel. Subscribe right now. Join the Vibe Tribe. Let's get it. On today's episode, I cover Forrest Gump. See, no matter what stage of life someone is in, everyone can take away something meaningful from Gump's story. We can learn a lot when we see the world through his eyes. Lesson number 1, do what you love. You see, Forrest Gump never did anything that he didn't want to do. Even if it was for a friend, like when he opened up Bubba Gump Shrimp. Because it was his friend's dream, Forrest didn't think through everything. He did it because he didn't really need to. He followed his gut and he did what he loved. He loved his friend, so he opened up Bubba Gump Shrimp. He loved to run, so he ran as far as he could. And he loved Jenny, so he did whatever he could to help her make her happy. Lesson number 2. Everyone can be insightful. See, Forrest Gump tells his story and his insight into his own slice of life story in a perspective that no one else would be able to have. Everyone has an insightful perspective that they should be able to share, even if it's not expertly articulated. See, everyone can have wisdom and a unique perspective no matter their vocabulary or intelligence, and that's worth listening to. No one should be afraid to share what they think as long as they are not hurting anyone. Lesson number 3. Don't be afraid to try new things. See, Forrest Gump was never insecure about trying something new and wasn't afraid of failure, which is a great lesson. No one is perfect, especially when they're first trying something. But sometimes you can surprise yourself by being good at it or even just enjoying a new hobby. Forrest meets several people throughout his journey and isn't afraid to start a conversation with them, whether it's a famous musician, John Lennon, or President Kennedy. He's also happy to try new hobbies like running or ping pong, and doesn't sweat it if it doesn't work out. Lesson number 4. Don't take yourself too seriously. See, Forrest Gump is not a person who takes himself too seriously, and he's not afraid of making a fool of himself, whether it's saying he has to pee in front of the President of the United States or telling his life story to a stranger on a bench. Forrest is always himself and isn't afraid of what other people think of him. It's a nice life lesson to remind everyone to be humble and remember that everyone makes mistakes. No one is perfect, and there's no point in taking yourself too seriously. Lesson number 5. Stay optimistic. Throughout the entire movie, Forrest Gump is relentlessly optimistic. Even when things are tough, Forrest looks on the bright side of life, even if other characters around him hate it, particularly Lieutenant Dan. It's difficult to be upset when someone else is so optimistic. A contagious feeling that bonds to help friends be more optimistic too. You see, Forrest Gump wasn't worried about the terrible things that were happening because he knew he would always be able to figure it out. Forrest lives in a nice blissful state that is a bit over the top, but the sentiment is a good ideal to try to live up to. Lesson number 6. Appreciate life while you have it. One of the clearest messages that can be taken from Forrest Gump is that it's important to appreciate life while you have it. Gump's story shows that you never know what's going to happen in the future, and that also includes not knowing when your time will be up or if your life is ever going to be compromised. Gump's friend Bubba, for example, dies when he's still in his youth. Although Gump suffers in a number of ways, he appreciates the life that he has while he has it. Lesson number 7. Pain can be channeled into something productive. Forrest Gump teaches that even the worst kind of pain can be channeled into something productive. After the love of his life, Jenny, leaves him, Forrest is understandably heartbroken. But rather than wallowing in his self-pity, he starts running. You see, at first, Gump doesn't run because he's trying to change the world or become famous. He simply does it out of heartbreak. Sometimes the things that we do when we're especially down can end up having positive consequences, even if they weren't planned. Lesson number 8. You never really know what you're capable of. Gump, played by Tom Hanks, is an ordinary man with a below-average IQ, but he manages to achieve a lot more than most people would dream of. If someone had told the young Forrest that he would be famous by running such a long distance, he wouldn't have believed him. He went from wearing leg braces to becoming a professional athlete. The lesson in that is, someone never knows what they're capable of. That's why it's always worth at least trying to pursue the things that matter. Lesson number 9. Truly loving someone means letting them go. It is natural to want to hold on to things that we love, but when we truly love another person, we also want the best for them and don't want to hold them against their will. Truly loving someone means letting them go. Gump's relationship with Jenny is very rocky, but he never stops loving her. Although he prioritizes her, he never tries to pressure her before she is ready to commit to him. He lets her go so she can find herself and make her own mistakes. And lesson number 10. Childhood trauma can stay with you for life. Jenny is a tragic character. It implied that her father sexually abuses her during her childhood, and it takes her a long time to finally find happiness with Gump. The two are only married for a year before she loses her life to an incurable illness. When she was finally old enough to leave her father's house, Jenny makes a series of bad decisions. She has a low sense of self-worth and attracts partners who don't treat her properly as a result. This teaches that childhood trauma can stay with a person for life and make it difficult to form normal relationships. Forrest Gump.